Welcome. It's Tony from Timpl. You're here because you've got an interview. Congratulations. That is the hardest part right now, is just getting in front of that hiring leader. Now look, during your interview, it's going to be very natural during the flow of the conversation for you to ask follow-up questions. That's great. Do that. I'm going to be helping you focus on the end of the interview when they ask you what questions do you have. Now let's get to specifically helping you get those questions out. We're going to focus on the industry, the company, and the job. The best way for you to start is through doing some research. Now, if the company is publicly traded, that means you can buy their stock on the New York Stock Exchange or through NASDAQ. I want you to look to see if you can find their financials. The financials are called their 10K or the 10Q. That is a fantastic way to hear directly from the CEO of the company about what's happening in the company, what forces from the industry are affecting the company, how they're doing in terms of financial health, and what they expect to happen in the future. All that's going to build a nice foundational level understanding for you about the company and the industry in which they work. Now, let's focus on the most important questions first, and that's the job and the team. And then we'll get into a little bit more about maybe company and culture and industry. Okay, I love this question to start. What are your expectations for me? I'd follow that with, what metrics or goals will you use to evaluate my performance? Now, you're going to be on a team, so let's ask some team questions. You might be managing a team, so these can be used interchangeably. Tell me about the team I'll be working with, and can you share some of their strengths and weaknesses? I think that'll go a long way for you. Now, let's look at the industry a little bit. What trends in the industry are you most excited about? Another way to ask that is, why did you choose to work in this industry? Why do you continue to stay? Now, let's get into company and culture. Culture is going to be very difficult, so I've got some kind of unique questions you can use to try to really get a handle on culture, because bad culture, bad productivity, you're not going to stick around. Okay, but before we get to culture, let's focus on some company questions. What major projects or goals is the company focused on right now? And how will this team support those goals? I love that, because it shows how important that team is to the overall company's goals. That might give you a clue as just to how important your role is within the company. Now, just in general, you want to understand, is the company growing? So an easy question is, what are your growth plans? And what might derail those plans? Let's get into culture. What personal traits are most valued here? What do you and the team usually do for lunch? That sounds a little funny, doesn't it? But I think it's a great way to kind of really understand, like, what happens on a mundane Tuesday. Are they getting together? Or are they all separating off and they're kind of siloed in their own cubicles? Let's get into culture. Do departments collaborate on projects or have joint events? That's a great way to find out if there's team building and a chance to meet with other departments. You just want a company that's got a fun vibe, right? So these are little ways for you to kind of get a little bit behind the scenes and determine, does this have a good culture? There's a lot more questions, and you can find them all in the show notes, or you can head back over to the website. I put a lot of content out there for you job seekers, so you can check out the blog there. Now, let's get into your closing remarks. This is so important. I can't emphasize this enough. You only have one chance in your first interview. There's only one interview. Well, there's only one first interview, right? So if you have any sense that they have been digging to find something out about you, you really want to make sure you address it right there. A good question is, can I clarify anything for you? Now, if you know they were really working on an angle, ask them, can I give you more information about blank? Don't leave that thing kind of out there, not fully explained. Get it down to the bottom. If you're not a good fit, you're not a good fit. Don't walk away feeling like, man, I wish I'd told them more. I love this question. Is there a question that I should have asked? Kind of a tricky one. We're going to close with what you don't say. And I think you all know this, but it bears repeating. You're not going to talk about salary. You're not going to talk about benefits, particularly not in the first round. You go further into the process and you can tell if things are going the right way. You're going to have opportunities to get into that. But the problem is when you're in that first round and that hiring leader says, what are you looking for? And you know he's asking about money and you don't want to answer it. You get all this advice. You've got to give them something. I'm going to give you 2 things you can say to hopefully push it off the table and give them something. First thing you can say is, first of all, thank you. And I'm open. I will seriously consider any offer. Another way to phrase that is, thank you. I'm very interested and I'm open and I'll consider any serious offer. Maybe that will push them aside. But if they counter with, but I'd like a number. Tell me what you're looking for. You're not going to be able to get out of that interview without saying a number. You got to give them something. This is what I would recommend saying. Say, I am interested in a market value offer. You guys obviously know what the market bears. You're in this space. I'd like to be in that range of market. Will that work? Can you get away with not giving a number? You need to have done your research. You need to know what the low end and what the high end is of that range. So if they're coming at you again, or you just feel like you don't want to skirt the question, give them the low end and the high end. Say something like, I am open and I would seriously consider any offer that's in the market range. And from what I understand, the low end is around blank and the high end's around here. Somewhere in there, I think we'll be fine. Thank you for asking. Okay. I wish you the most success in your interview. Be sure to check out the show notes. You'll find all the questions. Head back to the blog. You can get more information. And I'm just curious, is there a question that you think you would want to ask, but you haven't heard it here? Put it in the comments below because I bet you can help someone else. This is Tony with Timpl. Thanks for watching.